You might not have money, but you have strength. Walk if you can. Hi guys. Now imagine being a visitor in someone's house, and after a while they throw you out. They're like, please leave our house, we don't want you here again. Or maybe something just happens and they're like, please pack your things and go. Well, I guess I'm that person today, because apparently I'm packing my bag and I'm leaving nowhere. You're welcome again to my YouTube channel, Staying with Eve, and I'm so glad that you're back here with me again. And shout out to all my subscribers that keep returning, my returning subscribers. I'm so excited that you're still here with me. So for today, the topic of discussion is the unspoken words about living in someone's space. And basically it's all around how to be a good guest and not a burden to the person that you're living with. Now, before we dive right into dissecting this topic of discussion, I'd like to really put what I'm talking about into perspective. So there's a part where you're living with someone, and there's a part where you're living in someone's space. So the one I'm talking about today is not you living with someone who you're also sharing the same rights and entitlements to the living space. For example, if you're in the university space and you get a roommate and both of you are paying for the living space, both of you have equal rights to that space. So that's quite different. That's not the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about living in someone's space, or probably when someone is accommodating you, someone brings you into their own space where they have full rights to it, and you're just more like a squatter, or you're just perching, something like that. So the 4 factors that I think that would determine how good or how bad your staying experience is going to be include: number 1, the you factor. That's you, basically the role you have to play in the entire staying period. Number 2 is the host factor, the person that is accommodating you, factors that are dependent on them. Now, the relationship factor, the kind of relationship you share with the person. If the person is a friend, if the person is a relation, if the person is a complete stranger, yes, it has a way of affecting your entire staying experience. And the 4th one is how you live. Number 1, the you factor. This is a lot, because somehow I believe that majority of the roles to play in living with other people starts from you, or has to come from you, at least most of them. One thing that can make the you factor very much burdensome to a lot of people is because whoever is hosting you, be it a friend, be it a relation, be it someone you're familiar with or someone you're unfamiliar with, somehow or in a way, they have very much uncommunicated expectations. They might never really tell you what they require of you, or what they expect you to do, or how they expect you to behave or act in their space. However, those expectations remain uncommunicated, and because they are uncommunicated, you might never really know how to please them or how to make them feel comfortable with having you around. I think the best approach is to go in there bearing in mind that there are going to be a lot of expectations that will never ever be communicated to you. Now, this might seem like an entirely tight corner, right? Because I'm saying that this person has expectations. This person has not told me what these expectations are. So how then am I supposed to know what the person expects me to do? It sounds like a lot. The first step to addressing this particular issue is to be extremely observant and emotionally intelligent. It means you should be humble enough to allow yourself remain small in that particular space that isn't yours. There are some things that normally in your own living space, in your own personal space, in your family house, it's not really a big deal. Let's say like playing loud music, let's say like waking up in the middle of the night and yapping, let's say like answering loud calls, or whatever it might be. When you're in your personal space, it might not really be an issue. However, once you're with someone else, even if the person might have not outrightly pointed out these things to you, I think there should be a little bit of holding back. You should hold back on some things that might seem natural to you, or there might be character patterns that you've built on, you've accumulated over the years that have become part of you. But you should be very intentional to observe that I don't know if this person will be cool with this, or not. So I'd rather not do it than do it and get them offended. Honestly, living in someone else's space sometimes feels like walking on eggshells because you feel like you're watched at every point in time. You're feeling like, I don't even know what I'm going to do that will make this person happy or sad and all of that. And it can be like that a lot of times. But I think walking on those eggshells is actually what will save you most of the time. All these things basically starts from awareness and observation. It's in your ability to sense unspoken boundaries. It's also in your ability to read the room without requiring very loud signs telling you what to do, because obviously you are not going to get that. Now, the second way to go about the you factor is contributing in any way that you can. Wash the dishes even if you would never wash them in your living space. Wash the car even if you would never wash them in your living space. Sweep the house. Bring in, if you're working, you can bring in a certain amount of your salary and add it. It might be little, but it makes a whole lot of sense. I feel like gratitude is something that is way expressed. It's expressed in actions. It's also expressed in thank you, right? But I think it's valued more in actions rather than just saying thank you, except you're very good at saying the thank you in a way that the person really knows that, oh God, this person is very grateful. But let it be obvious, let it show. Let it show that yes, I am doing something. I was talking to somebody the other day and I was explaining that if I'm living in someone's space, let's say I'm living in someone's family house and I'm going to be there for 5 months, and even if I'm not working, I'm going to find a particular thing in that house and make it my responsibility. It might sound basically small when you're doing it. However, you're taking off a certain load, even if it might not be a very heavy load. But you taking on that responsibility provides a certain type of relief. Last year, while I was preparing for my exams, my parents told me that my junior sister was going to stay with me for a while because they were traveling. And in that period, I was like, Jesus, how am I going to take care of this girl when I'm preparing for exams and all of that? I was even very concerned as to how should we eat, because I am not a food person. I can literally buy biscuits and that's what I'll eat throughout today. So I don't really care so much about food. So I was quite worried. But when my sister came, she took on the responsibility of washing my clothes. She took on the responsibility of cooking all through. I think she stayed 1 month with me all through her period of stay. Like, I was literally lazy. I can remember when we were little, I think I was in primary school or just junior secondary school, there was this lady, Auntie Maureen. So she came around to our house and my dad was preparing for a meeting. He was supposed to have a meeting that particular day and we were running around for the preparation and all of that. And she offered to really help us do the cooking. But we were very skeptical because she was not Igbo. Amidst the whole skepticism and all of that, my mom was like, okay, you can help out. And literally this woman cooked every single meal. She cooked every single thing herself. She made afang, she made stew, she made moi moi. I even think we didn't even end up cooking our own local dishes. And those meals were excellent. They were so nice. And my senior sister still talks about it till this day, because I think in the process of making the meals and all, she taught my sister a different way of making stew. Now, guess what? This is like 10 years ago or more than that. And I've never come across Auntie Maureen again. But till this day, if I'm to remember her, I remember her as that copper who helped us make beautiful dishes for my father's meeting. So it leaves an impression. You might not leave so much, but an impression is something that will be left. And it might be good and it might be bad. The problem is that in the society we live, everything is centered around money. Everything is centered around finances and all of that, right? Everything is centered around tangible gifts. Things that people can see, things that people can feel. And because our mind is kind of limited to just monetary gifts and tangible gifts and all of that, we begin to see or believe that we have nothing to offer these families or these people that we are living with. And that's completely wrong. You have a whole lot to offer. You just have to see what you have to offer in the first place. You might not have money, but you have strength. Walk if you can. So basically what I'll recommend is, if you are ever going to live in someone's space, pick up a task and make it your responsibility. Actually, I think it would be completely unfair to come here and rant completely and make this all about you when there's a host problem. Now the truth is, the kind of host you stay with, would kind of shape the kind of experience you would have, regardless of how well you behave. Right? If you stay with a bad host, you can never please the person. If you like, pay their rent. If you like, they just don't want you there. And no matter what you do, you cannot please them. The only way you can please them is by getting yourself out of their house. So I'm not just going to sit here and make it all about you alone. You might have actually done everything perfect, but the problem is that the person you're living with is just a thorn in your flesh. Every host is different. There are some hosts that are very warm and welcoming. They really do not even mind you touching things around the house. They really would not mind if you walk into their kitchen by 12 a.m., open their fridge, drink their juice and all of that. They really will not mind, and they're not pretending about not minding. They really do not care. If you find yourself staying with someone who is kind of warm and welcoming, who is very free, please, I beg you in the name of God, wisdom is profitable to direct. Please do not take advantage of that particular situation. It's not because you have a host that is warm and welcoming, you now bring visitors into their house without letting them know, because you know they are not going to say anything, right? Even in that kind of warm and welcoming scenario, even in that warm and welcoming situation, still be walking on eggshells as you normally are supposed to. There are also a group of hosts that they're accommodating you not out of their own will, but out of obligation. Probably they didn't know how to say no to you, so they're just like, just come around. Like, they actually truly do not want you there. They truly, in the entire sense of the word, they do not want you in their space. However, they feel obligated to let you in. Let me just God, please, let nobody accommodate me with, God, I beg. They might just be hosting with a silent resentment of your presence, right? So you find out that in this kind of situation, it's not really about you. They just want you out of their space. That's the only way they can really be very comfortable. There are some hosts that are very orderly, they are structured. If you're a visitor in their house, if they're waking up by 12 a.m. to pray, you must wake up by 12 a.m. too. You know, there are some houses that if they're having their family prayer and there's a visitor, they won't wake the visitor up. They'll just do their family prayers and go and sleep. You get some houses where you go. Now they go first wake up. You can even lead the prayer yourself. So some houses are very structured like that, right? They incorporate you into whatever they are doing. You're not even seen as a visitor. If they are going to the farm, you are going to be the first person to carry the cutlass. There are some hosts that are emotionally absent. They will provide you with every single thing you would ever need. Come to them, ask for soap, ask for tissue, everything you would need to be comfortable in their living space. However, they are not emotionally present. They are not going to sit down and start talking to you about how the day went. They are not going to sit down at any point with you and start laughing or having wonderful conversations. No. Then there's another group. They do not need your help. Now, this category of people, I don't even know what their problem is, because they have a way of doing things. They have a way of sweeping their house, so much so that if you sweep the house for them, if you sweep the house for them, they'll come back and sweep it again, because a part of them feels like you didn't do it the way they would want to do it. Like, literally, it's almost as if it's not as if they don't really have so much expectations from you, because they are so comfortable with doing their own things by themselves, because that's the only way they can be pleased, when they do it by themselves. There's another host, these people, hey, these ones have very high expectations. Like, if you like, buy everything you want to buy for them. If you like, clean the house the way you want. If you have not done that thing that is in their mind that you're supposed to do, they can never be pleased. They have very high expectations. So to them, gratitude must be expressed in visible ways that correspond to their expectations. All these things I've said concerning the host factor, it already sounds like a whole lot, because basically it's not a you thing now, it's a them thing. So it's almost as if there's literally nothing you can do. And the host factor is quite tricky, right? Because unlike your own behavior, unlike your own activities that you can control, you really cannot control theirs. It's in their own power to control. It still boils down to awareness, observance. Observe as much as possible the things that you can observe that function for these people and try to work in those lines, right? However, I still believe that the control of their behavior patterns and all of that is still dependent on them. You can only do little or nothing to change the situation in that case. The next and very important factor that will determine the outcome of your stay or your staying experience is the relationship factor. Now, what do I mean by the relationship factor? And this particular one is a bit dicey, right? The relationship factor is the kind of relationship you share with the person who is accommodating you. It might be a family, it might be your best friend, it might be a stranger. What kind of relationship you people have, that's going to, in the long run, determine how your staying experience is going to be. The thing is, the closeness or the familiarity you share with someone determines the amount of comfort you would either receive or the amount of comfort you would abuse. Once you get very familiar with somebody, it takes you being very intentional to not abuse the privileges, to not abuse the comfort that the person is giving you at that point in time. It's crazy that people think that the more familiar you are with someone, the easier it should be for you to actually live with them. That's very, I would say it's completely wrong, right? Because it works for some people, but it's not a go-to. I've had a lot of people say they'd rather live with strangers than to live with their close friends or with their relations. The thing with familiarity is that it's quite funny. It makes things seem easier. However, it makes people forget. It makes you forget to say thank you because you're close. It makes you forget your things around the house, leave your stuffs everywhere. It makes you talk anyhow, to show up anyhow because you feel, oh, this is my person, this is my G. And the truth is that slowly, with all these things, the cracks begin to happen. And the illusion is that when you're close to people, you begin to feel like, we are close enough, so this our friendship, this our bond can absorb any tension. You feel like because you're close, that's the more reason why some certain things shouldn't cause hurt or shouldn't cause a break in transmission of the friendship. But the funny thing is, it's particularly because you people are close, that's why it's going to hurt more. It's one thing to be treated badly by a stranger, and it's another thing to be treated badly or disrespected by someone who you love or who you have a relationship with. And that's why you hear people say, I can't believe you can do this to me. You of all people. It means they had silent expectations. Why? Because there's a relationship between both of you, and there are some things they do not expect you to do, even though they might not really communicate it. How to go about this is that the fact that you are closer, it means it requires more intentionality than it would require in a case where people are not close. It means it requires more instead of less. And the mistake people make is, once they are living with a close friend, once they are living with someone that they're familiar with, a relation or any of that, the involvement, the intentionality becomes less. And that's wrong. That's not how the case is supposed to be. It's supposed to skyrocket, because if anything is to happen, right, if the person gets uncomfortable with you being in their space, you're not just going to stop being a guest, you're also going to lose a relationship with that person. That's the reason the intentionality should be ×2 of what it would be when it's a stranger. A stranger would not really mind losing a roof over his head or her head, right? Because they're not going to lose the relationship. But you as a friend, you as a family member, you're going to lose both the relationship and the roof over your head. So it's very important that we approach this particular relationship situation with respect. High level of respect. Don't sideline everything because you feel, okay, we are friends, so it shouldn't be much of a big deal. Just because there's a level of familiarity, that's the more reason why you should work on greater eggshells. The next and quite an important factor is the exit factor. So somehow this might not really determine how your experience, your staying experience would be, but it's going to determine whether or not you're going to leave a good impression or a bad impression. You may have been a very perfect visitor, humble, helpful, caring, and all of that for, let's say, the past 5 months of you living in that space. However, you live wrongly, and that's more like the only thing about you they remember. So in living a space, it's not just about packing your bags and going, it's about living with dignity. Now, under this exit factor, the problem or the mistakes people make, number one, is living without informing your hosts prior to your time of exit. Number two is overstaying without telling them that you are going to overstay. Accommodating somebody is not as easy as we make it seem. At that point in time, whoever you're under the person's roof is accountable. They are very much accountable, and that's why it shouldn't be taken lightly. How do we make our exits look very graceful? It involves saying thank you and genuinely meaning that thank you, even if it's your very close friend, even if it's your G. Leaving the space better than you met it. Yes, leaving the space better than you met it. If you met the place without bed sheets, or if you met the place upside down, please arrange the room before you leave. Leave before your presence becomes pressure. For some people, it might not be really easy, because that person might be the only option you have in that entire environment, right? But if people cannot talk things out, or if you cannot be of help, it's just become uncomfortable for you. Anything that is not your own is not your own, last. And the truth is, I know that most of these scenarios that I've created, right, it might not apply to all. There might be more scenarios, more problems that these 4 factors might have not really addressed entirely. There are some scenarios, right, that make it very difficult to apply these rules that I have stated. However, I like saying something that if anybody is ever going to fault you, let it not be that you'll be faulted for efforts. Let it be so obvious that you had given it your all and it did not work out. So in summary, reiterating what I had said earlier, there are 4 factors that determine how your stay with someone will turn out. Number 1 is the you factor, how you act, your presence, what kind of vibe you bring. Number 2 is the host factor. This person you're staying with, is the person a kind person? Is the person a strict person? Is the person a well-behaved person? Number 3, what kind of relationship you share with the person? Is the person your brother, your sister, your friend, or a complete stranger? Then the 4th one, how you live. Do you leave the place gracefully, or do you just wake up one day and carry your bag and go? I'm so glad I finally come to the end of this video, right? And I really hope this video helps you out. If you liked it, please like, comment, share. I'd like you to comment on which of these 4 factors hits you directly. I beg you in the name of God, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel, kindly like this video and share, please. It helps the growth of the channel. Thank you so much for keeping me yapping. God bless you guys, and bye. I'll catch you guys later.